I'm going to continue building the Lego Monkey Kid City of Lanterns set. Of course, this is the new set that's more building based. This is the first one that we've ever gotten that's just based on, well, some buildings. So there's no vehicle gimmick or mech gimmick or anything like that. And this is definitely what I think a lot of the older fans for this theme were actually asking for. So I'm excited to go ahead and get started on this. I think a lot of folks were really happy when they announced this one. It's been a little while since we've been building on this. Life happens. So yeah, let's continue. So far, we kind of have the superstructure of kind of the main, I think, middle pillar of the city right here. So we're going to kind of build around this. We have a few minifigs made so far. The new Monkey Kid, the new Pigsy, and the little hot air balloon right here. And, whoops, I disassembled his balloon. We'll go ahead and take them and let them kind of have a break on the side over here. And these guys can just hang out, and Pigsy doesn't want to stay up in the hot air balloon. He's more meant to be pegged into something, I suppose, rather than freestanding. All right. Probably would help if I had my book ready to go. And it looks like we're on bag number 5. Bag number 5 looks kind of slight, but you never know. It can be a little misleading on that. I've had bags that have looked really slight, but it turned out there was quite a bit to it because it was all small pieces, I guess you could say. So you just never know. Of course, we have our bag of little pieces too. Here's a question for anybody who's watching. Have you all found the new collectible minifigure Series 22? I have managed to find almost all of them so far. Today is the first day I really seen them out at a lot of places. And between Target and Walmart, I was able to complete most of it. Actually, I was able to find all of them except for the ice skater dude, who looks almost exactly like the main character from Blades of Glory, the ice skating comedy. So I have to wonder if that wasn't completely intentional. You remember, not many people may actually remember this. It was the ice skating comedy movie that had the guy who played Napoleon Dynamite as the star of it, and also Will Ferrell. Pretty good movie. I remember getting quite a laugh out of it back in the day. Me and my wife were dating and went to go see it, and we thought it was pretty funny. So, good memories anyway. Silly little comedy. Once again, I'll have to say I really love this turquoise blue that we keep seeing kind of pop up for this set. I think it was a really good idea. For this bag, by the way, just to give you a refresher, if it's been a while since you've seen what we did, if you remember the last time, we started to build this little kiosk that's supposed to give you info about the city and where everything's at. And this bag, I think, will be made to finish that out. I was apparently wrong before when I was talking about it, and I said that it kind of looked to me like there was going to be one bag per building. And now I can see that's not the case. Even though that one bag did mostly complete the interior of this, you can see that now we're on to the next bag, and it's sort of an extension of that. So maybe I'm sort of right and I'm sort of wrong on that one. I guess we'll see just how much more of this building that there really is. If there's a tremendous amount more, or if it's not so much left to go. All right, let's see what else we got here. I've not really seen these pieces too much before, so these have been interesting. I've been kind of seeing those more lately than I had been. It's almost like an illusionary piece where it's supposed to look like a bunch of little thin plates stacked on top of each other, so I like that. It's a little more efficient, I guess, than actually trying to do something like it with actual pieces. Have a few little mechanical details for the roof. I don't know, this kind of looks like the convenience store from Clerks. It's just, I know it's a lot smaller, but it's just this small little hut of a thing. So That's the vibes I'm getting. I guess that same comparison could be drawn about a whole lot of the buildings in the Monkey Kid theme because they're all so kind of tiny and they're all very minimal. Looks like we have a few connection points here. I don't think these are just here for visual flourish. I'm pretty sure we're going to use them some way or another. So it's not often that I get excited about a Kickstarter, but there's recently been some excitement. Carson over at 3D Joe's, which is a fantastic site. He's kind of a friend of the channel in a way, I guess, through Brandon and his brother. He has started this Kickstarter that's all about a new art book that he's releasing. It's like an upgraded omnibus kind of looking, absolute looking, if you want to use comics as a reference, version of his G.I. Joe art book. And I backed that yesterday, and I'm very excited that that's happening. I think that's awesome. It's one of those things you can tell he's put a lot of passion into it, and even has a bunch of creator interviews from Kurt Bazigian and other G.I. Joe celebrities, people who helped create that line. And I'm tremendously excited about it. So I'm actually thinking about doing a video just about this Kickstarter because I want to promote it for Carson, and I want to try to make it as big as I can. And it helps when there's good people behind something like that, and people you trust, people who have been working really hard in the fandom for a lot of years and doing what I would consider a great public service to the fandom. Anytime you've got that, you've got something really special, and that's what he is. So I definitely want to give honor to that project in any way I can, including backing it myself at the highest level I can. Because as the fans, we're the ones that are responsible for keeping these kinds of projects alive. And if you really sit around and say things like you want all the history of something documented, or you want a documentary about something, then really all it's left to do is to buy it. I mean, if you say that it's something that's important, you should support it. If you really believe that, if you're able to. There's a heck of a lot more important things in life than toy history preservation. But if you're like me, it ranks pretty high up there. So this is really interesting. You have like these train tracks, right? These kinds of roller coaster almost pieces. I shouldn't have called them train tracks, but you know, it's like a cart track. And what's cool is that piece we put on here earlier, that little clip, that actually just plugs into this, and then it plugs into the little black piece we put over there. So it's funny what a kind of casual connection that is. It's not as locked in as you might think it is, so we'll definitely move up to where you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. We have another one of those cart track pieces, and we just put it over here on the side. This makes me want to integrate the haunted, what was it, fairgrounds from Lego Hidden Side. That was really fun. Remember, I got that set on a really, really great clearance. Walmart was clearing out what was left of poor old Hidden Side, and there I was at the funeral. Right now, Lego Video is currently having quite a public funeral, and those are all being clearanced out. Very, very cheap right now. So if you're interested in any of those sets, this is the time to get to your local retailer and buy. So, because nobody else did. Nobody else did. You know what's a shame is I actually liked the first blind box series of those figures, and then for Series 2 they didn't get the distribution of Series 1, so I actually never found Series 2 anywhere, and it turns out they're discontinued already. So I'm probably not getting that second series. It's the kind of thing you hope will show up at like a TJ Maxx or a Burke's or something, but I'm down it. Check this out. This is hilarious. I think it's advertising something. It almost reminds me of Demon Bull King a little bit from the show. Unfortunately, these stickers are kind of nightmares because you have an interior surface you're trying to work with. So you're trying to see what you're doing while also being limited by a little gate. And if you mess up, you can't really like get it peeled out quite as well because you're gated on the sides there. So it's kind of a mess. These sorts of stickers are kind of a nightmare. And once you mess them up, you're kind of just, well, you know, there's just no hope for you to correct it. So yeah, not the most comfortable thing in the world to put these interior kinds of stickers in there. But hey, I mean, you know, we'll do the best I can, and we'll hope that's good enough for my own bizarre OCD sticker tendencies. I'm probably not the only one there, though. I'd say there's many, many, many LEGO fans that find themselves in the same kind of spot about wanting to get it right. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, it's all right, I guess. And at some point, you kind of accept that it's as good as it's going to be, because the more you try to fix these, the more of a disaster you can make for yourself. I've found that to be true, unfortunately, many times. Been working on a sticker, and then I've ended up destroying it. So So this just goes up here as kind of a little advertisement right there. So we can come down a little bit, yeah. Get our lighting adjusted so we can see it slightly better. That's better. Has a little bit of a shadow, but that's okay. Then we kind of have a little frame leading to it right here. Oh, and now we're building like a little structure over it here. A couple of archways. Okay. Almost like a little structure over where the trolley is going to go through, and there is a trolley in this set, which I think was one of the most surprising features when they unveiled this, that they went to that extra trouble to have kind of something to make it come to life a little bit more. Okay. Kind of livens the city up slightly. One thing the LEGO people usually have a really good sense for is contrast. I know the last LEGO live stream that I did, I talked about how the lack of that skill was the undoing of the second wave of Nexo Knights. But I mean, overall, I think that the people at LEGO are very, very visual when it comes to what's going to contrast and what won't. So I think that was just one bizarre little example of a time when it didn't really happen. But for the most part, you'll see things like this light orange, and it just looks great with things like the turquoise. I think that's part of the fun of the City of Lanterns set. You're going to see a whole lot of crazy colors kind of just jammed together, but not in a way that makes it seem so much like a rainbow. And I'll tell you, you know, I was just bemoaning that it was kind of over before it really began. But the LEGO video thing, one thing that I've got to say is that for that second wave where they actually did sets, you know, because before that it was just like little music boxes and you get figures, and they focused on the wrong thing early. They should have led with the sets. That would have got people more interested. But with that, I think that was I think those really had a terrific kind of colorway to them. they were always experimenting with something really cool with those sets visually. So I think that that deserves a lot more credit than it got. But who knows? I don't know if Lego Video will actually be worth anything here in a few years. But I have a feeling some of it will be, because some of it was pretty limited. But I'd say it's completely dead though at this point. I don't think there's a revival in the works, or I think it'd be a long time before Lego decides to go back down that road of experimenting with like a TikTok, like a music video kind of app thing. I don't seem like a ill fit from the beginning. Not the thing I would have ever expected Lego to try to venture into. Heard a lot of complaints about the app on that one, that the app didn't work very well. And unfortunately, there's definitely some drama like that when it comes to like Lego Mario. Like there's update problems with people's Mario, and they'll try to update them and then it won't work, and they have to try to reset it and then update them again. And it's tough when you've got a company like Lego that's really focused on being a good toy maker, which is what they should do. But then trying to be a jack of all trades, that's tough. I don't think any company can quite do that. And if they want to do that, then they're going to have to hire some, I'd say some more app people or some more of those kinds of interactive, like entertainment sort of people, because clearly something's not going quite right with all that. But, you know, hey, like I said, Lego is more a toy company anyway. So, all right. Ooh, I like this little detail. So if you look down here, there's almost like a little light down there, and then it goes on up. So I really like just little things like that. And it really makes it visually so interesting to have these little flourishes. All right, next up. You know, I see these clearances for Lego Video, and some of those sets are legitimately really cool. And I have to think to myself, did Lego maybe save Monkey Kid by making sure that it wasn't this huge Western brand push in stores? Because maybe kids, maybe they really wouldn't be into this. Because there's a lot of factors that go into if kids are going to buy a Lego set or not. And I don't know, I think brand familiarity has a lot to do with purchase decisions. And you just wonder if it would have been good enough for kids to have been like, oh, that's just cool looking and I'm gonna get it because it's neat. Or would it have needed something else? And maybe by Lego making this so limited and just focusing on the Eastern market, maybe they're saving this theme. Check this out, green camera. Apparently this is their, oh, this is cool. So it is kind of like a theme park, in my opinion. Either they're trying to say it's a security camera because it's mounted here like at the track, or what I think is more likely is that they're trying to say this is where like it'll take your picture and then you have to buy the picture. But if it's a fully functional city, then that wouldn't make much sense. So I'm kind of, you know, is it more of a theme park kind of thing, or is it more of a, you know, hey, we'll sell you your picture after you get off the ride kind of thing? So that's, I don't know, a couple of different ways to look at that one. I'll have to see how the set progresses and decide if that's what they're going for, I guess. But there's definitely a couple of different interpretations there. All right. We just got some framing going on here. I may have done that a little incorrectly. Let me see. Yep, I sure did. This was supposed to overhang a little bit. So I think it, oh wow, even more, okay. So maybe it goes out to there. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the angle they chose in the instruction booklet wouldn't necessarily cause you to think that it comes out this far. Let me just try something and see, make sure. Okay. That was wrong on both counts. It goes back just a little bit. So it's halfway. And we frame out the little roof area. We have one silver grate to add to this red here. Great, great. Okay, now we're just going to seal off the top with some flat pieces. I'm liking so far that there isn't much of a compromise when it comes to the stability of this and all their wacky kind of design choices, because much like the new Hogwarts sets, those are kind of done in this cube structure, almost like a one of those like Japanese mini hotels or something. And that's what this feels like design-wise. Is it's all very, you know, it's like cubed off little compartments of a city. And the artist in me would think, if such a thing is in me, would think to myself, oh, you know, that's not, visually that might not be very interesting. But it turns out that that is kind of that cube kind of structure is like inherently a part of a city. So I think that there's something to be said for building all these little structures on almost little cubes, little platforms, because I think that that makes a certain amount of sense if it's supposed to be this city. And the set is called City of Lanterns, so it makes a modicum of sense. All right, so we have another sticker application. We have this cool image of, it looks like the Monkey King and Havoc in Heaven. That's great. 6D IMAX. Wow. 6D, huh? Okay. Don't know what the sixth dimension is. I didn't even know what the fifth dimension is and struggled to know what the fourth dimension is. I'm the guy who's on YouTube trying to watch the videos about the fourth dimension and watching people explain it. And me sort of trying to keep up with them. I'm watching like old Carl Sagan videos. Wish I was kidding. All right. This brick has been a little roughed up right there. You see those little pock marks? Certainly had a rough time of it, hasn't it? Oh, this is so much easier to place than the one that was on the interior of the square. Oh my gosh. Can't stand that. Yep, pretty good. I love how there's a lot of commercialism in the city. There's lots of little ads and things. And it's funny because Monkey Kid, you see hints of this in some of the other sets, and you certainly see hints of it in the animation. I guess it's not an anime, but it's certainly made to sort of look like an anime. But it's like that we're in this future version of China to where the Monkey King legend wasn't just a story, but, you know, it all actually happened. So it almost informs all of their popular culture. It informs all of, like, their advertising and their restaurants and all of that. So it creates this really cool fiction. And at the beginning of it, the actual kid, the Monkey Kid, MK, he is already like this massive Monkey King fan. Like he wants to be just like, you know, the Monkey King, and he knows the legend and all of this. So that's a really funny way to start something up like that. I think it's a tremendously creative idea, actually. And I think that's why Monkey Kid resonates with so many adult Lego collectors too, is that seems novel, that seems clever. Doesn't just seem like a commercial gimmick. There's this struggle right now with Lego and with all sorts of different things in pop culture about retreading old material, sequels, remakes, reboots, versus doing something original. And the pattern is very, very, very clear at this point about what's happening with that financially. The pattern is that if you're new and you're unproven, untested, completely original, you might not be very financially successful, which seems to be what's happening with almost anything, any kind of media, whether it's a video game or whether it's a movie. People just about will not choose you over something that is meant to capitalize on nostalgia. No matter how good you are, every now and then something can rise up out of that, but it really doesn't happen that often. And then you've got reboots and retreads, which are reviled a lot of the time, sequels, reviled a lot of the time by critics, sometimes reviled by the public. Matrix Resurrections, I couldn't stand it. Absolutely hated it. Wish it hadn't existed and didn't ruin, well, it didn't ruin the old films for me, but it made me less enthusiastic about seeing them again anytime soon. And that's really bad when you can say that that's what a sequel does to old movies for you. Well, so those are your two kind of avenues. Either a lot of times people choose success and it's retreads and it's not very original, or people choose something completely original and then it just completely bombs out and nobody ever talks about it again. Monkey Kid is some kind of magic bullet, in my opinion. It's a lot of those things just smushed together. It is kind of a sequel to something that is vaguely familiar to the West. It's extremely familiar to the East. So that's not even a question there. Like it's just a part of their culture. But then you've got a lot of originality in the way that it's presented. It sort of feels like a sequel, but it's also kind of its own thing, and it's not just a complete retread of all the same stuff. So it kind of has its cake and it eats it too. Little gold pieces here. That's another thing I'm seeing with this. There's a presence of a lot of turquoise and the presence of a lot of gold, which both to me feel true to like the Monkey Kid color palette that we're seeing in a lot of the sets. Could you imagine if this was mostly gray and black? It would have been, number one, it wouldn't have had that Eastern feel, and I think that's important for a lot of people with the Monkey Kid sets. It's especially important for the Eastern audience in which they're made for, so yeah. Also, I think it just would have made it deathly boring. Like even like these builds, from what I can tell and the pictures I've seen, of course we're in the midst of it right now, are incredibly original looking. Like they're so much fun, all these little buildings. But all it would have taken is the wrong color choices to have ruined the whole thing. It wouldn't have mattered how cool like the shops were and the little buildings and things. They just would have been drab as all get out. So the right color choice is everything. Color choice can make you or break you when it comes to Lego themes. I fully believe that you can always decode what Lego is trying to do by looking at color, like what audience they're trying to get. Lego Video. Man, I must really have Lego Video on the brain. I guess it's where they finally kind of officially sort of have let it be known that it's over, like it's all retired. But you can tell that they were trying for the female, like the little girls audience, by trying to do like a music video, like a TikTok kind of thing. Like they tried for that. And it's really easy to decode their intentions too, because so many of those sets were purple and pink predominantly, and it doesn't matter how you feel about gender stuff or whatever. That's not why I run a toy channel. Like I don't care. You do you. I'll love you no matter what. But I think that what ended up happening was that they mixed a play pattern, and with it, that they were going for one thing, and the sets were communicating like something else. I think that they were trying to appeal to like everybody, whether you were into like bubblegum pop, and so you had like mermaid, ice cream mermaids, and like techno robots and stuff. And I don't think there's, and this is not a slight to kids, because I'm all saying kids are far more intelligent and sophisticated than people give them credit for. But I don't think there's a kid that is that broad in their horizons. And what you have to do is there has to be confidence right away with who are you selling to, I think, is what you have to answer very quickly. And you have to be laser focused on that. One of the only themes, I think, ever that has actually successfully straddled that line to me, and it was like, oh, either would like this. And I know that it was mostly a boys thing. I know that. But I know from seeing kids actually play with it and seeing them interact with it, I know that Lego Hidden Side actually sort of touched both worlds a little bit. You had really good kind of split representation of the kids in it, to where there was, you know, the boy and girl as the two kind of anchor main characters. They're both kind of cool, hip kids or whatever. And then the sets were kind of ambiguous about what they were aimed for. And as I said earlier, you can tell from color, like that's an easy way to figure out what Lego was going for. And they sort of, they wouldn't like put themselves into one box with Hidden Side, so the colors were just kind of all over the place. You never knew exactly what it was going to be. So I'll definitely save you all some trouble, save you all a little bit of pain and anxiety if you're like me about sticker placement. And if I'd known this before, I wouldn't have dedicated so much time to it. The two little circular pieces that I've been stickering the past few minutes while I've been talking about Lego, it's I wasn't paying much attention to how they were attached. These are completely rotatable, so it wouldn't matter how straight I had the sticker, as long as it was like equidistant. It wouldn't have mattered. So don't do what I did and try your very darndest to get them just right, just perfect, because it turns out you can just spin them to exactly what you need. So don't do what I did. But I'm glad for that, because it takes out a lot of the frustration of it. Can't say the same for the awful setup of that interior sticker that we did earlier. That's still awful. Of the bull chef. I guess it's like a restaurant commercial. Speaking of the bull sticker, and you can see it in there, that is definitely meant to be, I think, them using Demon Bull King to like advertise something. Like it's almost like saying, you know, it almost looks like something like saying, you know, this is the Demon Bull King spicy burrito. You know, I'll tell you, he actually looks kind of like the Chicago Bulls, like cartoon bull mascot. That's what he looks like. And don't worry, Lego. Don't freak out and go in and feel like you have to change it now, because we saw Lego actually avoid copyright tussles with Chicago Bulls in the Home Alone set. So if you look in that set, it's the bricks. Michael Jordan, the little standee that they created, the sticker. That's all it is just a little sticker detail. He's playing for the bricks. And that's it. It's not the Bulls. So Lego's avoiding every way they can any kind of discernible copyright trouble. People would review the set and then before they could get it uploaded, you could say that it was the Bulls, the NBA copyright struck the video. Oh, I will be right back, my friends. 1 second. All right, we are back at it. Just had to fix one little thing. Okay. Now, we are going to be connecting it here with the bigger set. And this is the first time we're getting more of that sort of, I guess, horizontal expansion. And just so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better, at the bottom here, you can see that there's some pins that we put in earlier. And those are just going to kind of plug in, and I'll get our robot out of the way there. And click, there we go. And so this, you're just gonna snap in. Actually, will that snap? No, don't think so. I think that just kind of stays there, and then we're gonna add a plate, yeah. So here, just add one of these turquoise plates and just snap that in. There we go. And that kind of completes the circuit. We also have another spot, and it's on the other side of the tracks. Right over here, you can see that it just kind of sets there until we snap this little plate in. Oh, that is so cool. Love this track already. This already makes it seem kind of like this big interconnected world, and there's all sorts of little graphics and cool different things going on. Yeah, I'm getting a vibe already from this. I mean, it just, I don't know. It's colorful, it's fun, it's got all sorts of little urban touches to it. I'm liking this. Yeah, I think this is cool. I'm gonna give Pigsy some dignity over here. Come on, Pigsy. Maybe Pigsy is drunk again like he is in the original story. I don't think that exists in the world of Monkey Kid, but you know what? If they're trying to say the entire original Journey to the West story exists, then yeah, we're gonna say that that's what happened. All right, and then I think we have some little lantern kind of, or light decorations, whatever you want to call them here. So let's get this. Okay. All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Just let me know in the chat box. Sometimes when I'm muted before, I have come back only to find that my microphone was not on. So hopefully I have avoided a similar fate this time around. Hopefully. All right. That's plugged in. And so here we have a lantern we're going to make. I love getting these lantern pieces like this, which are kind of look like, you know, the pumpkins that you get, only in red. I don't have any of those Chinese New Year sets, so it was great to kind of get them a different way. Okay, so basically what they're going to have you do is connect some of these lanterns down here under the tracks, so it keeps it from just looking like a really basic kind of little train track just going around. So I actually like that. That kind of spices things up a little bit, I think. So the first one, the big one, goes right here. What's great is it will still run on the tracks. It won't be tripped up by any of this because it's just the little grabbers are down there, and it shouldn't hurt anything, I don't think. All right, and next you have the little ones. At least that's what I can tell they are, as little lanterns. So plug one up right there. And plug one up on down. I think what I'm starting to realize, and I'll bring the camera down a little so you can see what I mean and zoom slightly, is the density of this set. This is one tiny little area, and it's important to have a minifig here so you can see what I mean, even MK with his giant map right here. This is just the tiniest little area that's decorated to the nines. You know, there's all sorts of little things going on here. It's not quite to the level of a Ninjago City or Ninjago Gardens, but I think it's awfully impressive what is here. So yeah, kudos to them. It's a great job so far. So the other bag, or the next bag, should I say, that we're working on, it actually looks fairly extensive. So it's going to be interesting to see how far it takes us. I think it might end up completing the track going around this next bag. So yeah, it should be fairly extensive if that's actually what we're going to be doing with it. Bag number 6. Let's make it happen. All right. Have any of you all tried this? It is the Alani sparkling lemon cream, or creme, we'll say, flavored like sparkling water. It's really good. I'm actually surprised by how much I like it. That's not a paid product placement either, so kind of seemed like it, didn't it? Whenever I build Lego sets, I have no idea why I sounded like Diedrich Bader just then. When I build Lego sets, I drink lemon creme soda, sparkling water. It's delicious. All right. After a long day at the office, it's time to build a Lego set. I sat down like a real man, and I drank my lemon creme. Put together cartoon pigs. Don't talk to me. Tell my kids to stay in their bedrooms and don't come out. I'm building a Monkey Kid set, kids. Maybe this is why I don't have children. Don't come out, kids. I'm building the Monkey Kid. This is Daddy's special time. No, you can't play with the Home Alone house. It's for adults. Are you crazy? Hey, Legos aren't for kids. So I'm going to just have a new streaming persona with my Lego videos. It's going to be this really angry, irate, like middle-aged man who is just dissatisfied with what life has given him. So he's turned to live streaming, building Lego sets, because he's, number one, he's desperately lonely. And number two, he loves Lego, yet he hates everything else. And all the significant like milestones in his life are framed by Legos, like different events in Lego history, and like that's all that matters to him. He talks about like every time Lego sets have been discontinued or retired, it's like it's a sensitive topic for him because it's like a death. Like he can't talk about it. It's too emotional. It's too real. It's raw. Is what it is. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe for every part in Lego live stream, like every part of me building a set, we go with a different persona. We do something different. Like one episode is Michael Jackson building the Lego set. And the next episode, it's Mike Tyson building the Lego set. And after that, it's Vincent Price. He takes over. Like, good evening, fanboys and fangirls. All right. We definitely had some fun doing Bachelor. That was a lot of fun. Trying a different host of a video on the channel. I don't know, Bachelor. I think he went to Jersey for the winter. I kept telling him that probably wasn't a great idea, but I do think Bachelor will hopefully come back if he isn't dead. I mean, you never know, Bachelor. I kind of let him hang out here till winter, so maybe he'll be back around. We'll see. I'll tell you this about Bachelor. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, it's some of the Halloween review videos had Bachelor, this crazy bad guy, as the host. I'll tell you one thing about him is that I think sometimes Bachelor couldn't decide if he wanted to sound more like like the Count from Sesame Street, or an Eastern European immigrant. I think he was confused. I think it became obvious when you heard his accent like bounce back and forth. I'll tell you one thing about filming the Bachelor videos, and if you haven't checked these out, you should definitely go back in the channel and check these out. You'll have some entertainment, I hope. It was incredibly difficult to film them. Like, incredibly difficult. Maybe one of these days I'll go more into that and why it was so challenging and why it was so difficult. But it was something. I'll put it like that. And after a while, I had to ask myself if it was worth some of the challenges because the returns weren't terrific. When I say returns, I don't even really mean, like this isn't really a for-profit channel necessarily. It's not much of that goes on here. I was just curious if it would catch on or if people would like it. I'm not sure they did. I'm not sure. I think it might have been a little too out of step with what we usually do. So the algorithm is unforgiving when it comes to trying new things on your channel. I really credit that with what's held the channel back from a lot of growth is that the algorithm will not work with you for trying something new. I've even heard that live streams will absolutely cripple a channel that isn't based on them. And that may be true, but I don't care. I'll just keep doing what I want. See, that's the great thing. I've seen creators, I've seen them beg for donations in the most pitiful, most pathetic ways imaginable on live streams. And, I'm not going to name any names. I don't want to tear anybody down because I'm not about that. But once I saw it, and, it's the kind of thing, these guys, they delete their videos where they beg for Patreon money and stuff. They end up deleting those after like a live stream. And I've seen people cry, asking, like in tears, just saying that they just couldn't believe that they weren't getting any more Patreon backers and that they just felt like giving up. And I just thought to myself that it's, number one, it's very pitiful. Number two, imagine taking YouTube and making it something that you kind of just say, you know what? I won't have a standard kind of job or career. I'm just going to make sure that YouTube is my like financial security blanket. That is such a bad idea. I mean, for some people, it works out great. If you're PewDiePie or somebody, yeah, sure. But 99% of the people who try to do that, you're just asking for it. You're just asking for it. Why not just have it be a little extra thing, and thank goodness there's people who do have it as a career in their main company because I love a lot of that kind of content like Red Letter Media and people like that. I don't know though, Mike Stucklasa, he may be coming home from a factory job every day and recording all that stuff. I mean, seriously, he may be. You never know, that may not be all there is for him. But, great for the people that can do it though. I seriously believe that there's a very large contingent of people who are out there because I keep seeing evidence of this, who are, I guess, setting their wife down and convincing them that, well, honey, I'm quitting my job at the insurance company because, I think if I just put enough into it, and they say something trying to justify just doing YouTube, and you can't, it's not going to work out a lot of the time. So always be realistic about your goals. Always have something to fall back on. I'm just hoping to get 3,000 subscribers. I think that would be great. We're very close. It's been very slow, but we're close, and channel's growing, and there's no reason to be antsy about it. I've seen people beg and set goals, and man, that's pitiful. That is pitiful. My dignity means a lot more to me than having like a successful YouTube channel. It's also the same with these guys who get a bunch of these like review samples. Say, for instance, people who are a part of the Lego Ambassador program, which is it's a dressed up way of saying Lego will send you a bunch of free stuff to review. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. And, if they offered it to me, sure, yeah, why not? Send it to me. I don't care, yeah. I'd love to be able to share more looks at that kind of thing with you guys, especially on release day and things. That would be nice. At the same time, I mean, there's a lot of questions you can ask about that. I think they're fair to ask about how much of that would color what you had to say about a product. I mean, there has to be some kind of inherent bias there, at least in some fashion. There's going to be some kind of bias, even though it may be totally unconscious and the reviewer may not at all intend for it. And I'm not even saying this is their fault, but if if you've taken the college courses that I have on bias and understanding bias, then you'll know that a lot of the time it is not voluntary by the people who hold a positive or negative bias. That's not what that is. There's, I just wonder if you can remain, if that's actually possible to remain completely objective if you're getting the stuff for free. Like I said, I wouldn't know because I haven't. So I've never been in that situation. Check this out. This is really cool. It's almost like somebody is watching like a version or a reenactment or something of the Monkey King legend. So, and you can see that it's a karaoke kind of deal because you've got little dots that are filling in as it goes, and then you've got 2 microphones. So I think what we're looking at is a karaoke station. I could be wrong, but I think that's what we're seeing here. And that leads me to believe, because I know I never ever look, but that may be what we're building here. I don't know yet, but we're gonna find out really soon. I'll tell you, this makes me, I swear, everything in this video, I must have been where I saw it while I was out today and saw a bunch of them discounted. But it just seems like everything is leading me back to Lego video in this one. I mean, look, I might as well talk about Lego video because ain't nobody else going to be talking about it anymore. So why not memorialize it just a little bit? Give it its due, because nobody's going to be talking about it anymore. It's over. It's done. I actually, one time I tested the waters to see just how much people wanted to talk about a retired Lego theme. And I was on Facebook, and I noticed, when I used to think Facebook was a terrific social media platform that you could find all sorts of people with like interest, it turns out it really wasn't for the most part. There's not a whole lot going on there. I'd much rather be on Twitter. But what I found was that there wasn't any kind of group, because there's lots of Lego groups, but there wasn't any sort of group for Nexo Nights. And I thought, oh yeah, I should establish a little Nexo Nights like fan group, because I just know that even though Nexo Nights is over, I just know that there's going to be a ton of people just like me who would love to talk about it and be interested in like looking at our collections, or perhaps, trading some sets or something, or buying some sets. Just all the kind of, normal stuff you would do in a fan community. I am telling you right now that I think that I only had 2 bots. I'm pretty sure they were bots. Attempt to sign up to be in the Nexo Night fan community page that I started on Facebook. I think I may have deactivated it finally after a few months, realizing that it was just people weren't interested at all. And that told me right away that once a Lego theme is done, and especially if it wasn't super well received, like a Nexo Nights, like a Lego video, it's over. It doesn't matter if there was a small contingent of folks who thought it was great or whatever. That is not enough to propel social media or YouTube or anything kind of like interest like that. It takes years for something to be a like a Lego Rewind kind of property. And if you don't know what Lego Rewind is, I definitely suggest you check that out, because it's a terrific series by this guy Nick from Planet Ripple, kind of YouTuber. He writes a lot of original science fiction content, and he's this huge Lego fan, and he goes back to these old retired Lego themes, and he gives you a history lesson on it. And he does a great job. He's a very impressive guy. I love watching his super reviews of things. I love hearing his perspective on these things. He openly talks about having autism on his channel, and how that affects his perceptions of things in the Lego community. He's just a brilliant guy. And I think anybody would enjoy watching his content. But I'm getting off track. What I'm saying is that it takes years before a Lego theme that's retired. This is a really cool decal. Before a Lego theme that's retired ends up having like that kind of cult following. And I definitely made a huge mistake by thinking that anybody before that amount of time passed would care. Check this out. What's it say? It says Panda Store. I see he's got some ice cream here. We have a missing cat, and I believe that that is a classic Lego spaceman. It looks like Benny from the Lego movie. That is really cool. This is, I think, advertisements for stuff, maybe. All right. Let's get going. Man, I love that sticker. We've had a lot of terrific stickers in this set so far, but that is one of my favorites. Just, you can even see the Monkey Kid, the original Monkey Kid logo back there. So that is just awesome. I remember that as an adult, one of the first Lego sets I ever put together was actually for my little nephew. He was very young. He might have been 2 maybe at the time. And I was sitting there putting his set together. And it was, I think, that Two-Face, like Batman set where it's like a little bank. This was from years ago when they had this set. You guys may remember it. And it was a cool set, but I remember my mind being blown by having to figure out which way to put the doors and the windows in, and knowing you could do it wrong. I think I ended up putting the sticker in the wrong place because I put it on the wrong side of something. But I do credit me buying him some of those sets. It was me kind of like living vicariously, because I had sort of wanted to get into it for a long time, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. And finally, just, I think that constant being around it caused me to just break over. How cool is this? Look at this. This truly does remind me of the Lego video sets because of the colors, the little enclosed nature of it. This door opens right here. This is, to me, unless I really have it wrong, this definitely looks like a little karaoke booth that you walk into, you record your song, and then you're sealed in forever, apparently. Okay, this is fun. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be putting together almost like little club lights that are supposed to be like along the sides. I mean, how cool is that? So we've got to do 2 of these, 2 identical strings of these little cylinder pieces, these trans cylinders. So, all right. So we just do a little bit of monkey see, monkey do for a little while. Just get them exactly the same. Transparent, a little globe here. What's great about this is you could reconfigure these colors to be what you wanted it to be if you wanted to go in a different order or something, but I don't. Look at this, I already messed up. It's the other way. All right. But yeah, you could definitely reconfigure if you wanted to, kind of try something new. Now I sound like the Boba Fett meme about the Polynesian spa. Come on, New Zealand, try something new. Whoops. There we go. And then yellow and red. It's starting to look like I'm in a Five Below. Things bright and colorful and lights are blasted out. Nope, that's wrong. Just trying to put in one of the trans minifig heads. There we go. Back to little cylinder pieces here. All right. Looking like a fruit roll-up, right? With these at the end. Okay. So I just want you to see that on each side of the entrance, you have all these crazy colors. Good times. All right. So earlier, you might have noticed I switched these around. Well, that has had the unfortunate effect of it should have gone the other way, because now this won't plug in here, so I did it kind of backwards. That must have been why I was constantly getting them mixed up as I built it. Okay, this will take just a second. Man, I'm having so many gaffes building this set. It's embarrassing. I didn't do this kind of thing with some of the other live streams. Just a second. There we go. All better. Now that plugs in. So you look at what a great little almost Dance Dance Revolution kind of color scheme that we have going on here. That is terrific. That's terrific. All right. We have a couple of great pieces. Man, love the looks of this so far. All right. And these are our go-to little support beams that we keep using in this set. Love seeing these things. I wonder what these were originally created for, what the original purpose is. Were they always meant to be like support beams or pipes? Or I just wonder when that piece was introduced and where it came from, if it just came out of the blue or what. All right. Those clips were already on there, so I should have been paying more attention. And then we're also extending them a little bit with these little cylinder pieces. Okay. All right, we have more of those yellow kind of construction pieces. Wow, that looks great. Loving how the colors work together there. Like I said, the contrast is just beautiful between the yellow and the turquoise. Turquoise. Kind of curious about this one. Almost seems like I missed something. Who knows? For now, we'll put that right on there. Whoops. Ah, that's what I'm missing. Had it in the wrong order. These go on first and fill out a connection. Okay. If anybody could you tell me that my video and my audio are still going, or that you're still able to hear me and see? Because I have had a few technical issues lately, and I don't want to be streaming absolutely nothing. So if you can still see the video, let me know in the chat. That would be great. Just let me know in the chat if you're still able to see the video. Oops. All right, friends, just to be on the safe side, we're going to go ahead and start a new part, a new stream right here, because I'm not 100% sure that everything's coming through all right.